Citizen, how's your spirit? Mine, super chill at the moment. Um, y'all know me. I can be mouthy and whatnot, get into a whole host of things. But yet, um, today I really worked my tail off, and I tried out some AI features on Canva that I'm really impressed with. Honestly, um, I would say with very little effort, I was able to create usable marketing materials. Um, and that's really the point of me streaming. Again, this is like for me the laziest way to get it done. I enjoy streaming. It's just that uh, I'm super busy. In order to accomplish everything that I would like to achieve uh, in a reasonable amount of time, I stay busy. And so I go live when I can, and sometimes it becomes this minimalist thing. I enjoy, though, clipping the little art pieces and designing thumbnails and all of that. To me, that's a part of the journey. That's a part of the artistry. The thing I'm having to come to terms with is I am an artist who wants to be a business owner, and my business has nothing to do with my art. That's hard. I have to put as much love and care into my business as I do my art. So I went out and bought a router, a real phone, and a tablet. You know, what I have to pay on each month, not something that I got for free or cheap. Within a day of getting it, though, the tablet was broken by a third party. It reminded me of the thing that I would tell my children: never borrow someone's things because when it gets broken, you're responsible for it. Now, I'll be honest. I didn't make this person responsible because I wasn't able to get the cases for the tablet, and that would make it partially my fault. Not being aware of how they were handling the device, my fault. Not making it clear what I expected before handing over the device, my fault. So, I accept my fault consequences in life for the things that happen sometimes. Um, Not all of the things make sense or should be so consequential. And that's really the point of this. I didn't anticipate, pardon me if I'm looking around, I'm looking for the cigarette that I rolled a moment ago. Anyway, I didn't anticipate the first video or short or whatever on this channel going to almost 1,000 likes immediately. That wasn't the point of me posting it or recording it. It's what's happening in my life in real time. There was a police officer here just a moment ago who pulled off as I began recording. They tend to do that. And I anticipated that. You can't watch the civil rights leader that came before me and not see that that thing is going to be happening to me. I've been working a lot lately and revisiting some of my old videos and former internet associates. Hold on a second. Hmm. Always remember to aim with the wind and away from your friends. Let me explain something really quick. My business model is community outreach by way of cannabis. I go out every day with my backpack and a bag of food and me, my equipment. and have conversations with the people on the street. Sometimes it's just how they're getting through. Sometimes it's offering resources, advice, counseling, whatever they need. In the world that I'm from, that's worth a lot of money. Out here on the street, I barter with the people. If they could all only afford to pay me $2, I give them $200 worth of therapy. That's it. When I very first became a content creator, it was to work on my masters, you know, use my life as a case study. So to speak. Now there are other people who are looking at me, determining how it is that I make it daily when others seems to be defeated. Talk to the people on the street. My resume says I'm qualified to do what it is that I'm doing. My background. I'll be 50 in a few months. I think it was on Blue Sky that I posted. You can't legitimize the Black human rights movement without me. I've been running my mouth around the world since I was like 13, believing in my country, standing up for Black people everywhere that I went. There are a lot of Black content creators. So why do I need to express that? There aren't a lot of Black, Indigenous people of color speaking truth to power and authority with a similar authority, if not power. And my voice is powerful. I knew that when I came to Tucson. I knew the police would be on my neck. I knew there'd be a portion of the community too. I just didn't anticipate you. People like, look like me, live like me, have a similar understanding to me. Define themselves as even poor righteous teachers offering self mastery. That's our commonality, not our blackness, because not everybody is black out here. Although when you get into that spiritual thing, it's a whole nother realm. And I'm coming to recognize that because of who I am and what I believe, it's being placed upon me the actions of other human beings. And that's not fair. We speak of equality all the time. Equality isn't fair. Equality is accepting that someone's never going to do the work and they should receive an equal outcome to me or you. You've got more blood, sweat, tears, equity than the many, and yet you believe your voice isn't mighty. I am speaking specifically to those whom I came into your life and I recognized that you were dejected, not rejected. You hadn't been rejected by society. You decided, though, that society would reject you, whatever it is, your blackness, your masculinity, your time in prison, your mental illness. You wear that like a war wound. a scar on who you are. I recognize it and see past it. The person you actually, I don't want to say meant to be, should be, or any of those things, because underneath the masks and the layers, um, we're really just human beings. Human growth and development says we'll go through these stages in life. Anyone convicted of a crime is anticipated to do it again. And so they know they're not really given an opportunity out of the door, which is why my business model exists. It's the people that I've met on the street and in my own journey that have given me the courage, wisdom, foresight, or thought to do differently. That's now. When I first started content creating, I knew I had to do differently. I knew I had to offer extra because I was doing something that was frowned upon in the first place. Yes. Anyway, one second. It's a FCC violation to be smoking cannabis and or cigarettes certain times of day in certain ways. It's a whole host of things. I live in a state where it's legal, medically, recreationally. It's just not federally legal, and the FCC is a federal thing. So my content is always in danger of being blocked, censored, shadow banned. And then what I speak, that's just how deep it gets. That's why I get so deep. Why not? My content, my content can be buried for years and still be relevant out here. Maybe that's the reason why no master's degree for me. I mastered self, and I learned not to manipulate others in the mastery of self. I don't turn a blind eye to anything. I remind myself that we're all human beings and we all have human outcomes. So why get into it with someone? 13:33 on the clock. It's not worth it. It's not. It's not worth it. So please understand something. When I speak and I get into situations where I lose my housing, it's because it was worth it. Over the winter, one of my favorite people out here was being threatened to be put outside at midnight when it was freezing. When it gets too cold or too hot, they have some type of a program where shelters have to let people in as long as they're not over capacity. This is during that time frame, and this person was threatening to put out a little old woman in a wheelchair. I don't give a dang how we got there. No one should be outside now that it's freezing. That was then. Here it is today. It's supposed to be almost 117 degrees. They have cooling centers around the city. They tend to close around 6, 5 o'clock. My business model is to go from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. to cover the gap in services. to the community I live in. Because it's not just the homeless who need to beat the heat and or eat. People are house rich, so to speak. They've got plenty of house and nothing else. So they got to go out and get cooling somewhere, water, sustenance. That's where these shelters come in. And when they violate the laws due to their arrogance or use their position of authority as a bully pulpit, that's where the problem exists. That's where I say something, see something, say something. When I saw that Donald Trump was doing the same thing, I said something. I was way back in like 2016. I posted this somewhere too. I think it was on YouTube. If after Trump's first term in office, or during, or somewhere around there, he said that, no, my apologies. During Biden's term in office, Trump was heard saying that he would bomb Moscow into oblivion, so to speak. Then is it not possible that the reason he wasn't elected because Putin knew this? He's been saying, Donald Trump has, that he was getting assistance from the Russians and that the election had been stolen. Now, by whom? He implied the Democrats. And well, as I said before, he's a Democrat who switched sides to get the vote. So there's that. Is it not possible that that's what the president did? And so when he came into office in the second term, having to tell the truth, is he not a rat? Isn't the requirement for staying out of prison being willing to tell the truth? Take polygraphs and be told what, you know, or have to show and prove you're not committing any more criminal acts. It's something to consider. I do. Can't want to run for the president of the United States and not think about these things, the many ways that one could get tripped up in running for office. That's why I did all of this. $0 coming out of the gate. No one can say I was manipulated by anybody. It wasn't bought, I wasn't sold, I wasn't traded, not on the open market. The dark market and the black market, those are different beasts. Those things were done without my knowledge, consent, and they go further than my lineage on YouTube or in Tucson for that matter. I'm the child of two occultists and a blippy. So my biological father, a Scientologist, my stepfather, a black nationalist, formerly a part of the Nation of Islam, quite possibly still, if I'm being honest. And my mother, a conscious red bone hippie. That's why I call her a blippy. She's a blip in time, as am I, and my children. Hmm. I'm prayerful and I'm thankful every day. One, the Most High made me this way. Two, I ran a daycare for years. I included those children in many of the things that we did as a family. No one can tell you that I ever crossed religious boundaries or any of those things. I'm professional. You understand? If the parents didn't ask me what my religion was, I darn sure wasn't pushing boundaries with them about theirs. It wasn't a requirement. I don't know if we are just built different in the military or we get that way at some point. We fully understand it's about the mission. And if the mission means that someone has to go down range and leave me responsible for their child that day, month, year, I'm going to fulfill that mission as if that child were a part of my family, keeping in mind that they have a family member who's not there. Until oftentimes I did the things that they would do because they couldn't and they wanted to. Took videos and photos so that they could see their children's existence on the journey. Birthday cakes for the 1 year olds that are this big, smashing them all over the place. Everything that comes with childhood, innocence, not having a care in the world. And I think that's the irony. People see me sitting here, live streaming, smoking weed, possibly barbecuing, thinking she must not care in the world. What she really got going on that she's out here. If they only knew. I wouldn't actually say it's how I choose to exist. It's just the United States government sent me here in poverty when COVID hit. So why wouldn't I end up with everyone else out here? Why wouldn't I also, though, remain who I am as a person? Stick to being me. I haven't hid anything from my community ever, to the best of my ability. That includes when Daniel was putting his hands on me. One of the things that I was considering today, are there videos where you can see the abuse? Like you can see that I haven't slept and that I'm starving. One of the things about gastric bypass surgery, you guys, real quick, the other side of it is wasting syndrome. I am in a perpetual state of starvation. That's why no fasting, even though I'm a minister. That's why eating pork, even though I'm Muslim. I have to eat to live. That requires a host of things that may not be for every other human being, Muslim or otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So why does an industry that did this to me without understanding the consequences of it then validate my outcomes? They put success at maintaining a weight for 5 years. Not gonna happen here. This is what it is. They put Freud and Jung at the front of human growth and development, and I choose Piaget and Colbert and myself every day. I tell you to go after the elitists because the Heinz experiment is what it is. And well, Mitt Romney is an elitist out here. A Mormon, one who judges what I do. At least inside of the dogma, this is the devil's lettuce out here. I saw some Mormons a couple days ago, library. And I saw today too. Anyway, they're young, under 30, and they're elders, concerns me. And they're just things that I know. At 13 was the first time that I watched Helter Skelter. It didn't scare me. It gave me a full understanding of this thing. The white, WHITES, the paper people, the one who care about money, are attempting to make it seem as though I am the one who is suggesting civil war in this country. I am not. I'm making it clear that we are out here. We will defend ourselves and our homes at all costs. Peace by any means necessary. We already have a president who wants to go, or who is enacting civil war. I'm sorry, World War III, and imposing martial law. And if you ask me, we've been at civil war at least since 2016. This was the ultimate outcome, pendulum swing, for Barack Obama to make it to the presidency. Donald Trump has to exist. He was held up, Barack Obama, as the shiny Negro on a hill. That's coming from Janine Hill. Okay? So why would we on the other side have a not so shiny white guy? So the thing that needs to exist is for us to get to the middle again, which is where I sit. I'm an independent. I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. I don't even want to have to caucus with either party. I'm not quite a libertarian. I'm not quite a liberal. Not even a Republican. Like I said, I'm more of a moderate when it comes to a lot of things. I vote where it matters, where I know my voice will be heard and make a difference. Well, I moved to Arizona. There's a vote going on here this month. The disability rights advocacy group has some signs up. I encourage people to vote, though I may not. Because when I look at the people I'm voting for or the acts or the amendments, I take it serious. It's my life, especially when you talk about cannabis advocacy, disability rights, civil rights, veterans' rights, the rights of those who've gone missing, military spouses and children who go uncounted until they turn 18 or they leave someone. And then it's like, well, where the hell you been? Doing it y'all's way. That's something we have to change. That's why me. That's why running for the presidency. That's why running my mouth. That's why they don't like me. The Trumps, the Obamas, the Clintons. I had to put money on the president liking me in recent history. Maybe George Bush Jr. would be the last. I lived in Texas when he was in office. I understood his politics and what he was doing, even if I didn't agree with all of it. He sent my ex-husband, I think, on his second deployment. Clinton sent him on his first. How long I have quietly served my country. Donald Trump wrote my mother. I'm sorry, that's untrue. Mm, backing up. Bill Clinton wrote my mother a letter before she passed away in 1996 of stomach cancer. As my uncle, her brother-in-law, worked for him. That same uncle would go on to work at the Pentagon on September 11th. I lived in Fort Drum, New York at that time. I remember vividly recognizing that one, my husband was getting ready to come home right away. Two, communications had gone down. Three, that my family was in danger, immediate and just outside of it. My little cousin went to the daycare at the Pentagon. He wasn't there that day. I don't remember whether or not her father was. We all lived to fight another day. There are things that I know the government wishes I didn't know. There are things that, due to time frame, time running out, they can't stop me from talking about those things. Usually like a 17, 10 year blackout on things. I was a civilian married to the military. Nothing about any position that I have held, even as a volunteer, required me to steer clear of speaking my truth, which is the truth, which is my ex-husband worked in a SCIF in military intelligence. The last known person closest to the presidential office that he would have had contact with would have been retired General Lloyd Austin while they were both serving, obviously. Simultaneously, do you know how dangerous that is for me? As a military wife and spouse and a volunteer, there are no protections for me. I'm watched by the federal government in case something happens to me. There's no one protecting me, so it's just me and God. So I figure, why not run for the presidency and give them a reason to watch, follow me, and maybe begin to protect me instead of my veteran and his delinquency, his debauchery. We all took an oath. We all did. And I stand on my shit. That's why I know more degrees for me. That's why self mastery is key. And I teach it to people on the streets. But you, that's what it is to be a poor righteous teacher in these streets. So while there are many who believe that they'll never elect me, there are many on the streets who've already chosen me. I have a higher calling. It's not the presidency. Shout out to Ed Eddington, I think was your name here in Tucson. I'm Black Jesus. I reincarnated here February 2nd, 2022. This is your opportunity to put your money where your mouth is. Well, the church's money, that is. Check out the link in my community post. You'll see what I mean. Anyway, I've been beating the heat long enough in this spot and it's starting to get hot. So it's time for me to move. In the meantime, keep your spirit up. I'll see you in the street. Peace.